Yuan Tong Ling Ming. It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually. I'm happy to be back with you. The song before class today fits wonderfully to the topic of today's web class: fighting for dominance and desire for victory. It was All for One and One for All for Love by Bryan Adams, Sting, and Rod Stewart. And like always, I will send you out the link with the recording in the email afterwards. It's a beautiful song when you don't know how else to open your heart. You can try the song and then do Ling Yuan afterwards, or then just live your day and do Ling Yuan in the evening, or any of the Yuan Gong methods actually. Any of the Yuan Gong methods makes me actually just grab 1 minute of the webcast to talk about this little project that happened out of nowhere this week. Talking to a very good friend of mine, making some suggestions how squats could help G squats in a really relaxed, really deeply unified state. And not too many of them, but therefore over a longer period of time, to do 10 of them. And somehow it happened that I offered to join her in that journey. And then I asked the next friend in the evening and the next day. And then somehow we ended up with being 33 people by now who do 10 squats a day for 3 months. And I have to say, I haven't practiced squats in quite a while now. There's so much to practice. And yeah, really happy to be back with the squats. Really amazed by how powerful they are. And of course, having 30 something people to join in and know that all around the globe, all around the planet, at all hours of the day, 30 odd people are practicing with you the same thing and contribute to the Chi field is really wonderful. Of course, this is what actually is happening all the time around the world, right? Renshi practitioners, actually also Qigong practitioners from all around the world, and also life cultivators from all around the world who use different methods and systems. Many of us work on our lives. And it's just a matter of our awareness connecting with that knowledge, with that reality that there is many people working on their lives, and unifying with them to strengthen their chi field for them, in turn will strengthen your chi field for you. And any sort of amount of work you do in this chi field of life cultivation, the path to realization and wisdom, you do for others, and you do it for yourself, and they also do it for you. So we all together are enhancing humanity together. This is always a very uplifting thought. all we need to do is remember that when, we think our day is difficult, or our life is difficult, or planet on Earth is difficult. So all for one and one for all, the more you manage to expand your consciousness into working as a totality consciousness, the more you will experience that, the more you will be able to experience that. And the more you experience that, you will be able to remember all the time, or be present with the idea that, yes, if you're having a difficult day, others are doing the clearing work for you today. And if you're having a powerful, super unified and strong day, very relaxed and very calm, then you can even increase the awareness about all of us working on lives, and you can transmit that with even more powerful heart information. We are never alone, ever. We only are alone when our heart is closed and when we forget to unify with nature and the beautiful planet and the beautiful universe, and actually all the beautiful aspects of humanity. So there is a thought crossing through my head or passing me by. I just keep observing that thought coming to the forefront, and I keep trying to put it aside, but it keeps coming back. So I'll just say it, because obviously we should, maybe I'll just say it. It's about the planet. I've been, as if you know me a little bit, I like documentaries about nature and animals and the planet. And so there is a few new ones on Netflix the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And one is called Night on Earth. And the other one is called Our Planet. And they have new cameras, like high sensitivity cameras, where they can film in the light of full moon animals at night and discover completely new behavior of animals. And completely new science is basically added to what we already have. And they also work with, what's it called, heat sensory cameras. So in the middle of the darkest night, they can see animals in what looks like almost like a G person. In the case of the orangutan, it's just this yellow, not completely defined person, like we are practicing to see ourselves when we practice Qigong, or when we imagine to bring others into our Qi field, to practice with them as a Qi person and unify all as one Qi person. I would recommend to watch those, because, and this is the thought that fits to today's session as well. More and more, they are saying things like the numbers are increasing. About the last, about 20 years ago or 10 years ago only, these documentaries were always about, species dying out, and numbers going down and dwindling away, and you know more and more the planet seems to recuperate for all the actions that humans take all around the globe. So it's really uplifting, it's really beautiful to see. Many good things are happening, many good things are happening. And today all of us together will do some more for that chi field of the planet, of humanity, and of the universe. And we're going to look at this pattern, fighting for dominance and desire for victory, very honestly. This pattern today will conclude the first 10 patterns, so the fundamental patterns. To correct that a little bit, we are going to look at the 10 fundamental unhealthy patterns, which means of the consciousness, which means that basically every single one of us humans, if we're doing life cultivation or not, we have them because they are a fundamental way how the consciousness has learned to function over the course of evolution. I'm saying this to make it easy on all of us to, first of all, we all have it. So this is easy. We don't need to think about if I have it, or we don't need to allow the false self, the sneaky way of, yeah, this doesn't concern me so much, this pattern, or no, I can't see it inside of me. We might have as well just skip that part and go right to it's a fundamental human consciousness pattern, and I'm going to open my heart and myself to really recognizing how it manifests inside of me and inside of my life so I can replace it and find replacement information. Like with all fundamental human consciousness patterns that are unhealthy, connect with the aspect that you can clear a lot of this information on the whole global, from the whole global chi field. If a few squats can be so powerful that I've experienced the last few days again, and what I hear from others as well, imagine what the consciousness can do with such a big topic, with an information that is so present in our human chi field. Yeah. So allow yourself to trust unconditionally that you are doing a lot for humanity today, that you are being very, very purposeful for humanity today, that you are needed on this planet, and that it's very valuable what you do, and keep trusting into that, even if the correlations of your work and the changes in the world are not always immediately visible or tangible, because there is 8 billion people in the world. But me, the a little bit crazy about Renshe person, when I connect with what I've talked about today before, about the animals and the species, the numbers recuperating, And when I connect the times of when that started to happen and when Janse started to teach Ren Shui, when he started to develop it, it's now almost 20 years. You know, be it that this is just nonsense in my head, but this is uplifting nonsense to me. And of course, we want reality. But the global Ren Shui Qi field and some really positive changes seem to go, interestingly enough, hand in hand. I'm sure every other modality thinks like this as well. But oh well, you know, it's a nice thought, and there's no harm done as long as we only take it in humility and go, oh, and we use it for, you know, uplifting our trust to know that we are fulfilling a purpose here as well on the days when we are full of doubt, maybe about our own purpose on the planet. Maybe some of us are still sick in the body, or you know, some of us teachers may think that because there is not many people yet in the classes, how powerful it is. Let's trust in the power of Shen to Shen transmission, heart to heart transmission. We are clearing and balancing, and especially we are replacing information. If we replace it within ourselves, we're doing a lot for humanity already. So, like I said, today is the 10th of the fundamental patterns, and next week we're gonna start with the 20 more patterns that we have, so 30 patterns. Actually, it's 35, right? With the lack of trust, lack of openness, lack of love, lack of gratitude, and lack of Gongqing. And these are just the 35 patterns we really went into depth in Ren Shui. And then, of course, there is many, many correlations and connections individually. Individuality, by the way, is a really, really big aspect of why this pattern is coming up. We often can't really connect to our own individuality. We want to be part of a group so much, and this is normal, this is natural, this is human. We are social creatures, but we have to learn to cherish our individuality. When we can completely settle into our own individuality and be at ease with our individuality, this is when we don't need to fight anymore. This is when we can respect others. We don't need to dominate. We don't need to control. We can be relaxed and we can enjoy our inner peace because we cherish ourselves. We can cherish other individuals as well. And if we don't need to respond with the urge to dominate and the urge to fight, and when we can see that loving self, loving into individuality, and be in the state of Wu Xin, we have won already. Then the desire for victory goes out, or can be replaced. Yeah? And when we connect with what I spoke of before, the, just keep remembering how valuable it is what you're doing for yourself and your life, and how valuable that is for all of humanity. Then your desire for victory will become weaker. You won't have to enforce it anymore because you feel very victorious all the time anyway. Huh? You feel very successful. Anytime you manage to observe a pattern when it gets activated, and you can immediately open to the replacement information and unify with that, you are victorious, hugely victorious, actually. So there is no need to fight for other things. It's very, it's a very intrinsic connection, and you will see how easy it is to free oneself from that pattern of this competi- competitiveness, competitivity, gee, competitiveness. Oh yeah, I got it. Sorry. Um, so this pattern is very interesting because it seems to be hidden in so many aspects that we don't even know. And it comes from when we are insecure and when we don't feel important, meaning not self important, but purposeful, meaningful, you know, uh, im- important for humanity, because humanity can grow through us living as a human. Can you see how this has a lot to do with why this unhealthy pattern, um, can get smaller and smaller, or opposite if that sensation of purpose is not there, if that fulfillment that you receive from having purpose, having a meaning in your life, living a meaningful life, then that would be the reason why that pattern is very active. And this also is very helpful for other people. Often when we are life cultivators, we are more or less aware of that we are contributing to humanity in a very meaningful way. But often I think, for when you can clearly see wisdom more and more, then it's easy to fall into the trap of why are some other people doing that? And then the trap goes really, fast into judgments and polarization or overgeneralization and suspicions. And then it continues to fixed expectations. And then it goes forward to negativity and greed. And then, soon enough, we're maybe in self centeredness and avoiding and hiding again. And then we all become but stubborn. Why should I do the work when the others aren't? When it seems like this. And here we are back into a fight for dominance. Yeah. So fundamental to look at it, and fundamental to honestly work with it. And we will all gain freedom together from it. So now let's unify a little deeper, meaning we're going to do the relaxation and the connecting um, all together with the Chi field, although we already are, simply through Yuan, Tong, Ling, Ming, we are with the Chi field. But this is basically now the start of our Ling Yuan practice today. So we're just going to go through the official part of the Chi field of the preparation. And then we're going to have a look what Janse has to say about fighting about for dominance and desire for victory. Oh, by the way, one more thing. So this is particularly one of the patterns me personally do not like to use the short word competitiveness, because I found that my false self finds a way easier time to go, this doesn't concern me. But when I really connect with the true name, fighting for dominance and desire for victory, I can see way more aspects and manifestations for me. And I can also understand it much easier. So if you had a bit of an issue of seeing some manifestations in your life with this pattern, then maybe try that out. Try to use the full name, and maybe you can then see easier and observe what you can improve. So you can improve all of humanity besides your own inner freedom and calmness. Okay, so go ahead, please. Put yourself into a nice position. And like always, so we're going to do the preparation now, the relaxation in the Chi field with the 6 verses. Then I will read the information about the pattern. And then we are going to do the questions and the connection of, so we do that part beforehand, the unifying Shin, Ling, your heart consciousness, with Shen, your true self consciousness. So they all become one. And then that information already can start coming up for you while I am reading out the information. Like always, if information comes up from your life, from your experiences, or your particular individual information, don't worry about further listening to reading the words. You can come back to that with the recordings later on. Just allow yourself to observe the manifestations of your life and maybe the causes or the reasons for why you're still holding on to, or some negative effects, some fears about it, and maybe also some replacement information already. Or this could all happen very fast while we are listening to Janse's information about this pattern. So, tak, 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 tak. And you might just experience Wu Xin very strongly. So, like, don't come back to listening to the words, all right? I know I'm saying this often with almost every pattern, but this is why we are having Ling Yuan in our lives, to learn to observe our consciousness when it brings up information. It can bring up information while you're standing in the supermarket line waiting for, paying your food. It could come up while you're sitting on the toilet pooping. It could come up whenever, So we need to be in a state of awareness best all time, and to not push those thoughts away, like I don't have time for that right now. Yeah, we can always be with these patterns, and the heart might open to something like that at any given time. So it's important to learn to stay with the totality information, with the total information coming up from deep within or deep within the universe. Not much difference between those two. And because change can happen then in that very moment. So there's no need to go back to the linear way of listening to words and sentences and phrases. This will happen naturally after you have gone on this observation journey. Yeah. Good. Then after the questions, so after the reading, I will post the questions and then we go into silence and you allow that whole process of Xinling and Shen communication to happen freely. And at the end, I will just, at some stage, I will just turn off the recording and the camera so you can sit in your own time. Because Yuan is so individual, you know, important is that you are not feeling squashed into a specific time frame. So sometimes you might have to sit, you might want to sit 3 hours because so much information is processing. And today it's happening. Some pattern is transforming. Yeah. So there is no need to finish with a whole group of people. Simply stay within your individual process, fully unified. And in that deep state, sounds can be distracting. That's why we are finishing up silent. And on other days, you might just be done after 20 minutes. Either your consciousness can't open that particular day, or it's gone so fast during the reading that all you had to do with the silence was go into the Wu-Shin. Or you might be finished, or you might have to go to sleep, or if you're in New Zealand or Australia, you might have to go to work. Who knows? So just please make sure that when you close up, remember to draw Qi back to your heart and the center of your head to store it, and then to open up one more time and draw Qi back to lower Dantian. Maybe rub Qi in if you like, and then if you have been sitting cross-legged for a long time, please tap down Qi from your kidneys, rub it in, and then tap Qi down to your feet and up to lower Dantian. And if you like, you can do the head and face. Okay, so let's open our hearts to the fight for dominance and desire for victory. Look straight forward. Keep looking straight forward. And gently draw your vision back. Close your eyes and relax the whole body. Relax your whole body. Keep relaxing. More and more. Allow yourself to sink deeper and deeper. More and more you become one with your internal world. Rather than external. Keep relaxing. Connect with the association that you are being chi. You are turning into chi. Let it clear you, dissolve you. Identify as being a chi person. Open out. Keep opening out. You are becoming one with all. All the love of the universe. All the chi. All the wisdom. And all of Tao. Identify with being the universe and its chi and consciousness. and welcome it streaming in. Welcome the chi, love, and wisdom streaming into the center of the universe. You are the center of the universe. And you are everything, everyone as a chi person. You are the light of the wisdom of the universe. Chi is flowing freely and smoothly from everywhere into the center of the universe. And in the center of the universe, now look into your head. Look into the bright lights inside. Now become your Shin Ling, your heart consciousness. Feel the space of that Chi Field's person's center. Your heart is my heart. My heart is your heart. And our heart is everyone's heart. There's no distinction. Become aware of the deep inner calm. Allow your Shinling space to expand upwards and become one with Shen. Shinling, your heart, is the best inquirer. Your Shen, your true nature, with its infinite potential and wisdom, will answer you. Trust into this. Open yourself to recognizing aspects of the pattern of fighting for dominance and desire for victory, to see manifestations within you and your life. Allow yourself to see the causes and the formation of development of the pattern of fighting for dominance and desire for victory. Trust yourself to see the reasons of existence and why you are still holding on to it. You know that you have all the courage in the world to look at the possible negative effects of the pattern of desire for victory and fighting for dominance in your life. And that will give you the inspiration to make a decision in regards of what to do with the pattern, the fighting for dominance and desire for victory. What are you going to do with it from here on out? Fully trust your heart and this chief field and the power of collective honesty, creativity, and desire to change ourselves. That you will find replacement information, replacement possibilities, infinite possibilities and ways to change it. Utterly trust your heart to manifest these changes. Gently allow these changes to come into you and into your life and to spread and to turn into Wu Xin as a present force in your life. The future is bright about this pattern. It's turning into support, love, and care for one another, and in working together. And to the end, trust that you will confirm, affirm, and accept all of the new information that you will find now with the Wu Xin qualities of your Xinling. From today on, you will be free and freer of this pattern. fighting for dominance and desire for victory. Let's look at the origins and background. The meaning of fight for dominance and desire for victory is straightforward. It is the mentality, desire, and the action to gain advantage and to win. So the mentality, desire, and the action to gain advantage and to win. The essence of fight for dominance and desire for victory is competition. In other words, it is through the mechanism of competition that one demonstrates one's prowess and gains dominance or wins. In this sense, we can also call this pattern the pattern of competitiveness. Competition is the attempt to outdo others. It is the desire to excel in all kinds of social activities. In a way, we can say excelling through competition is an instinct. Even young children manifest this desire. For example, a young child will feel very happy and proud if his blocks are piled higher than other children's. Most people are more or less competitive, and it shows when comparing oneself with others. One aspect of the origins and background is the evolution and the development of human species. To an extent, we can say that history of human survival and development can be summed up as the competition between humans and nature. And the competition between humans and humans. Darwinism states that a species develops through natural selection. If a trait variation is useful, it is preserved. In other words, natural development occurs through a kind of competition to survive. This applies to the human species too. Competition puts people in a very complex and special state. It can activate a very strong motivational and driving force. A person will be motivated to do all it can to outshine with a strong aversion to falling behind. The person can mobilize intelligence and sharpen awareness and senses. It can improve concentration, thinking, and enhance the performance of mental faculties. So competition can do all that, yeah? Competition, sorry, I read that wrong. Competition can mobilize intelligence and sharpen awareness and senses. Competition can also improve concentration, thinking, and enhance the performance of mental faculties. Competition can also facilitate the manifestation of imagination and creativity. All of these can increase one's competitive edge and hence the chance to survive. Competition mentality has been passed down through generations and has almost become an instinct. A second factor of origins and background is the human nature factor. In the theory of Shen and Yi of Ren Shi, so the second theory, the first four basic qualities of human nature are directly related to the instinct of competition. So those four are the natural instinct, the survival instinct, social nature, and needs beyond the instinct, so needs beyond the physical level. In addition, the instinct to seek benefit and avoid harm, seek simplicity and avoid complexity, provides the driving force for humans to develop the competition mentality and instinct. Seek benefit or interest and avoid harm. Seek simplicity, an easy solution, and avoid complexity or extra work. Those are the driving forces for humanity. And why we develop competition mentality and instinct. So, human nature. The third aspect is the social and cultural factor. Competition has been part of human society and culture from the very beginning. We can say that through competition, society has become what it is today. Competition can still be found everywhere in our society. The instinct on the human nature level can manifest in many different ways. For example, the aspiration for the better can be internally oriented. Improving life through self-cultivation. Or the aspiration for the better can be externally oriented. Improving life through pursuing external goals. An external orientation will usually lead a person to pursue widely accepted social values, such as gaining wealth and power in order to be successful or to win respect and recognition. The internal orientation is not likely to lead to a competition mentality or pattern, but the external orientation is very likely to. With a competition mentality, the first thing people consider when deciding what to do is, how is this helping me gain advantage or increasing my chances of winning? In reality, the distribution of many resources in society is determined through competition. Such a social and cultural environment has created a strong institutionalized force that promotes and creates competition. Today, our society and mainstream culture place a high value on competition. It is encouraged in every area of life. The champion is greatly rewarded and hailed as a hero, and the winner receives the biggest applause. Everyone wants to stand out and become the object of envy. As a result, victory is a goal that people will do almost anything they can to achieve. This is a bit surprising, isn't it? When we read this, and all of a sudden, when we grow up, almost everything seems to be pushing us, prodding us, and encouraging us to be better than others, doing better, being stronger, being faster, being better at school, being the best in class. Da, 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 da. Later on in the job, it's bringing the better results than the other one. Otherwise, we might even lose the job, etc. And now, when we look at it like this, we feel like, wow, actually, this is quite unhealthy. We'll find out a bit more why or what happens afterwards while we keep reading. It's a fundamental change that has to happen in our consciousness. A fundamental change, no? But it's also really nice to find out that just take a breather and find a way where you do not have to put yourself under such pressures. And therefore also others not. So let's look into the family environment. If parents are competitive, their children are likely to also be competitive. Children can develop this mentality from a very young age. For example, fighting for more or better food or toys. Sometimes competition for parents' love and attention can be fierce among siblings. Competition can also be seen among peers. so among friends. Many parents encourage their children to compete in all kinds of arenas. They expect their children to show their abilities and to excel and aim straight for the top. Even hobbies and personal interests can become competitions, and children are encouraged to use them to develop their ability to compete. In many cases, parents are really excellent teachers and models when it comes to competitiveness. Number 5, education. Education and educational institutes play a very active role in equipping people with the knowledge and skills they need to be competitive. In whatever way education is delivered, it encourages students to compete against one another. It emphasizes the importance of excelling in order to prepare for the competition they will later face in society. We can say that many educational institutes, to an extent, are cradles for competitiveness. Number 6, the personal factors always play a vital role in the formation and development of unhealthy patterns. The place of competition in one's value system plays a significant role in the formation of this pattern. Other patterns, including greediness, fear of being taken advantage of, and approval seeking, can also contribute to the formation of this particular pattern. Greediness, fear of being taken advantage of, approval seeking of others, those can contribute very strongly. Which brings us to the general and specific manifestations. Fighting for dominance and desire for victory. Competition is an extremely complex mental and behavioral phenomenon characterized by an attempt to achieve a specific goal or objective. We can roughly classify competition into two categories: relatively healthy and relatively unhealthy. The relatively healthy competition is characterized by the participant knowing how to choose an appropriate arena. So, for example, electing a president may not be a sound choice for a 10-year-old child. Marathon running may not be suitable for a person who has difficulty walking. So the appropriate place where we're going to be competitive. Also, being in a positive and healthy emotional and mental state, manifesting the spirit of peace, fairness, and respect, or having the ability to tackle difficulties and to take loss in a healthy way might be seen as the relatively healthy ways. Choosing the appropriate arena, being in a positive and healthy emotional and mental state, manifesting the spirit of peace, fairness, and respect, having the ability to tackle difficulties or to take loss in a healthy way. The relatively unhealthy competition is the opposite of the above. In addition, other characteristics could include unsound motivation, not playing by the rules, and unconstructive or even damaging processes or outcomes. The pattern of competitiveness can manifest in all kinds of ways in life. For example, comparing oneself with another person or his house, car, income, job, the list goes on. So comparing your house with someone else's house, the car or the income or the job. People don't want to be outdone. Parents compare their children with other children, from academic performance, appearance, hobbies, and game playing to sports. Old people compare themselves with young people, not wanting to be physically outperformed. Even on the road, people can turn normal car travel into a race or a driving feat, which sometimes leads to dangerous road rage. Many people don't seem to mind investing a large amount of their chi, their shin, the heart, and their shen in competing with others. Let's look more specifically into the manifestations of the pattern of competitiveness and their possible causes. Number one, lack of clarity on how to realize values of life. Number two, too much emphasis on self-worth. Number three, perfectionism. And number four, personality. So these are possible manifestations of the pattern of competitiveness and also possible causes. So let's look at the lack of clarity on how to realize values of life. A person's value system determines what he sees as important and what he wants for life. So, it plays a crucial role in the direction of life. Most people see health, happiness, a strong sense of well-being, growth, and helping other people as of great value of life. Indeed, these are some of the common goals many people want to achieve. However, for various reasons, many people see gaining external wealth, power, resources, and status as the way to achieve these goals. When there are too many people wanting limited external resources, gee, sorry, they will compete with one another to get those resources. So, is this external approach an efficient way? Gee, pardon me. So, is this external approach an efficient way to realize these valuable goals of life? We humans have tried this approach for thousands of years, and it does not look like it is either efficient or sustainable. Individuals, society, and nature are damaged in this long process of fighting over resources. It has not gotten us closer to health, happiness, a strong sense of well-being, and growth. That is to say that as we fight so hard to gain success through various forms of competition, we are also paying the price for it. What we gain in the end is not real success, as we have lost what is actually most valuable. Two, too much emphasis on self-worth. Whether parents are comparing their children to other children, or old people are comparing themselves to young people, etc., comparison takes place in order to affirm that one is on the winning side. This could be due to a need to prove one's worth and defend one's dignity, and to constantly reinforce a sense of superiority. In fact, it is a natural ability of Shen and consciousness to prove one's existence and worth through comparing. It is a way of gaining a sense of certainty and security. So this is natural to compare. However, when this need has grown too large, there can be all kinds of negative effects. For example, one can be compulsively comparing all the time to everyone and everything. When one is not the winner, he could get emotionally upset and feel jealous or resentful. or one can resort to acting or pretending, as well illustrated by a Chinese saying. Slap one own slap one's own face until it's swollen in order to pretend to be chubby. So sometimes the Chinese sayings do not make a lot of sense to other cultures. Um, in China, because poverty is so big, being chubby is being a bit, on the heavier side, is a cultural, well accepted, or even preferred state of the physical appearance, because it signifies um, material richness. If you're not poor, you're not skinny, you know, you are chubby because you can afford enough food. So when you slap your own face until it's swollen, so you look chubby, is, you would harm yourself just to be looking like something that seems victorious because you're rich. When a person is over competitive, he or she can also lose respect for others and look down on them. He or she can become snobbish. This, of course, would incite others to be competitive and defensive. A vicious cycle could form this way. Let's look at perfectionism. Perfectionism, explained in a simple way, is the mindset and the behavior of setting extremely or even unrealistic high standards, accompanied, accompanied by the strong expectation that they will be met. It is a manifestation of over idealization. A perfectionist often determines the value or meaning of the life by evaluating performance and outcome. However, because the standards are often too high to reach, this person often does not feel the satisfaction of success and meaningfulness he seeks. So too high standards are too high to reach, and so the meaningfulness goes out the window because it can't be reached, and so it can't be meaningful. Continually setting higher goals and pushing limits to outperform himself and others becomes the norm. He may not want to be competitive, but his mindset and behavior are competitive. Number 4, personality. Some people are born with the personality traits of ambition and a strong drive to pioneer. This type of person enjoys competition and has high expectations for achievement. This personality type will have a good chance of succeeding, but they can also be prone to emotional instability, such as depression, anxiety, and restlessness. Although such personality traits can play a big role in a person's consciousness, including the formation of patterns, personality traits can be changed. To describe the tendency towards competitiveness, some people use the peacock, or to be more precise, the fanning of the peacock's tail. It goes without saying that the fanning of a peacock's tail is a display of utter beauty and magnificence. However, it also can appear somewhat haughty, competitiveness, and imposing. Peacock mentality is a manifestation of inflated vanity and a lack of security. It is using a glorified appearance to make up for the feeling of inadequacy in order to win attention or recognition. Vanity is common and can be found to some degree in almost everyone. However, if it is excessive, it can have problematic consequences on all levels of life. So these were all some general manifestations about this pattern. Let's look at the validity and the advantage of this pattern, which corresponds to the question in Lingyan of what are the reasons of existence? Why am I still holding on to it? Because our false self finds some validity and advantage in it. Competition seems to be able to motivate people and give them hope. It gives people driving force and helps overcome laziness. It keeps a person's fighting spirit high and gives one the courage to keep overcoming obstacles and challenges and the determination to beat competitors. Competition can also motivate a person to do better without falling behind. Competition can enhance the performance of the senses and mental faculties. So, thinking can be more astute and concentration can be improved. It can even help manifest potential abilities such as imagination and creativity. There is a lot to look at, isn't there, if we want to be free of that pattern? Well, as we know, wisdom actually has a very direct correlation to creativity. So, imagination and creativity, we actually don't have to give up if we choose to allow this pattern to change. The more wisdom one has, the more creativity and imagination one has access to as well. And we don't need to waste chi anymore through competitiveness. Let's look at the possible negative effects of the pattern of fighting for dominance and desire for victory. It is human nature to aspire to the better. As put in a Chinese saying, people move upwards, water flows downwards. However, if the moving up is done by unhealthy competition, over time it could bring all kinds of negative consequences to life. For example, it will be difficult for life to be in a relaxed, calm, and natural state. There can be ongoing overuse of the body, of qi, and of shen, besides unhealthy emotional and mental states such as pressure, stress, anxiety, and fear can often be part of the competitive way of being, not to mention the frustration, disappointment, and sense of failure and hopelessness one can experience when losing. All these can take a toll on one's health and life. Being competitive can also affect one's relationships, making them more prone to friction or conflict. Being competitive can create tension and distance between people. Research shows people who are too competitive have a higher chance of getting cardiac disease, which can shorten the lifespan. Research shows that people who are too competitive often have varying degrees of relationship issues. It is difficult for them to have close friends and intimate relationships. Research shows that unhealthy competition leads to long-term anxiety, which results in psychological and emotional imbalances and symptoms such as fatigue. When people are not able to deal with failure properly, it can cause depression and other mental disorders. Competition can be found in every area of society, not just between individuals, for example, between different products, organizations, religions, cultures, political groups, races, and nations. Fight for dominance and self-interest in a competitive way can be seen everywhere. Unhealthy competition has been the way society has operated for a long time. It has caused so many problems, including inequality, polarization of wealth distribution, clash of classes, and religious conflict. Human health and well-being are seriously affected by it, especially the loss of balance on the Jingzhen, the spiritual, mental, and emotional level. Currently, humanity is unclear about its direction for the future. Ongoing terrorist attacks, conflicts of all sorts, wars, dramatic climate change, deterioration of the ecological environment. All of these and more have something to do with unhealthy competition. Up until now, real solutions have not taken shape. Is competition the only way for humanity to survive and to thrive? Is there a better way? Let's look at the possible replacement patterns. The mentality and pattern of competitiveness is part of our natural instinct. So it seems to have become something we all have to live with. On the other hand, we should also recognize that we humans have the ability to grow, to develop, and more importantly, every person has the potential for realization and wisdom, which is something unique to the human species. While we should acknowledge the role competition has played in the development of human civilization, especially its contribution to the development of material advancement, we should also pay attention to the huge negative impact it has brought to humanity and nature. So the question is, should we humans continue to rely on competition to ensure the continual development of individuals and society as a whole? Is this a suitable path? Where is it taking us if we keep going this way? Who can give us the answer? Society is made up of many individuals. In every human being, there is a heart with the aspiration for a better future. Health, happiness, sense of well-being, growth, and making a contribution to society are our common goals. We have that in common. But where is the path that can lead us to them, those common goals? It has become clearer than ever that the existing path is not the one. The truth is, many people are no longer willing to continue on this path. There's a few notes that I made while Janse was talking when he held the teacher's level 5. So, what are some of the possibilities as replacement? Self-love, self-worth, purpose in life, and a purposeful life, or living a purposeful life. Yeah. Is healthy competition the way out? Although healthy competition does not cause as much damage as unhealthy competition, it is still competition and therefore can still have a comprehensive negative impact in the long run. Is it possible to do away with the mentality of competition? The answer is yes. We in Renshu propose the path of the 6 stepping stones for uplifting life. The 6 stepping stones for uplifting life are normality, health, freedom, self-control, self-awareness, autonomy. I repeat those: normality, health, freedom, self-control, self-awareness, and autonomy. If you want to have a more detailed explanations about that, you can either read the theory of Shen and Yi, chapter 5, or maybe I'll do a web class at some stage about them. And you can, of course, do your own thinking on normality, health, freedom, self-control, self-awareness, and autonomy. These 6 stepping stones can be used to pave a new path. They can be set as goals and provide the driving force for developing higher realization and wisdom. The progress we make in these 6 stepping stones can also lead to the development of our ability to both uplift our own lives and help others and society to make progress. As an individual, each person can rely on these 6 stepping stones to create a new path. And through cultivating and growing these potential abilities, we humans will be able to grow, enjoy a good life, help others, and contribute to the development of society without competition. We humans will gradually become beings of higher realization and wisdom, and we will not cause any harm to the totality. So let's look at them for real quick, real short, because I've looked into those 6 stepping stones a lot. Normality. Once it becomes normal for every human being that you are being supplied by the universe with chi, abundant chi, infinite amounts of chi, and infinite information about wisdom. Once that is normal, do you think you still have to fight for anything when you know that you get it all? It's normal to know that you get all from the universe, all that you need. Health. When you are able to, you know, draw chi to the places when you are in pain, when you are able to be healthy, basically without anybody's help, mostly, there won't be much insecurity and fear. You won't have to go into competition about anything like this. Also, you won't have to earn so much money for, you know, either, bills of medicine or, um, medical bills, but also insurances, maybe, you know, because when you're able to be healthy because of your heart and mind is strong, no, not the mind, the consciousness, and because you can, deal with pain and sickness yourself. I mean, can you imagine how much that would also help the, you know, individual governments and put that into resources? Freedom. If you are not scared of anything being done to you, because you have the freedom of the true self, you have the freedom of inner calm and inner peace, there's nothing left to fight for. True freedom only comes from inside. Self-control. If we have self-control, we won't harm ourselves anymore. We can stop doing things that harm us. Many things that we do from competition can be non-existent then. Self-awareness. When we have the awareness that I am inseparable connected and interconnected from everything else, we won't take from it, we won't take from others, and we won't, well, self-awareness plays into everything really. We won't over exercise, we won't over strategize, we won't over stress, we won't exhaust ourselves, etc., etc., etc. And autonomy. When we are all autonomous in following the laws of the universe, we don't need anybody reinforcing those laws. We don't need legislation. We don't need government, basically, because we all self govern according to the laws and we're all in this inner peaceful state. This might sound utopian for now, but we live in a time of awakening. We live in a time where many people are working on their lives. And now, well, at least in Renshe, we have the tools that we all can attain realization and wisdom. And once someone has attained realization and wisdom, that person won't go against the laws anymore. That person doesn't need external governing. So it's not that utopian. It actually closes the circle to the first again, normality. This will all be normal one day. If we survive. When more and more people are walking on this path, the culture of competition will gradually be weakened. In its place, the culture of working together in harmony will gradually develop, making the development of true civilization. True civilization is driven by self-cultivation, realization, and wisdom. It cannot be emphasized enough that the most valuable assets and resources cannot be found outside of life. The real competitors and rivals are not outside. What we need to overcome is all the unhealthy patterns inside, including the pattern of fighting for dominance and desire for victory. Competitiveness. This is how we become. This is how we can become strong and powerful and true winners. If you really have to compete, how about trying to compete with yourself? See if you can make today better than yesterday, this hour better than the previous hour. We are all part of the totality that is made up of all human beings, all lives, and the whole universe. All of us share the same future and destiny. It only makes sense to love and support one another and live in harmony with one another. The law of the jungle means some will have to die for others to survive. For humans, this is not the way for the future. There is a way for all of us to not only survive, but to thrive as a true civilization. It is time for all of humanity to contemplate what is next. There is a conclusion to this pattern too, but the conclusion to this is the conclusion to all of the patterns. Don't stop learning and applying. So now allow yourself to sink deeper. The chi field is rich with information for you to be able to replace this pattern, to gain insight and understanding, and to be able to change. Sink deeper into the silence and observe in silence all the information. And towards the end, confirm and affirm and accept with Wu Xin all of the new information. Go on a journey of self-inquiry now, completely one with the chi field, trusting the chi field, trusting yourself, your heart, your Shen, and the universe, trusting the future, and allowing the questions to float around freely from your heart. More and more calm, sinking into deeper unification in every moment, completely one with the chi field of Ling Yuan and the wisdom of the universe and your Shen.